This video is sponsored by Squarespace. So this is going to be a straight up what if video, something that I don't normally do, but I had a fun idea and I got some art commissioned, so why not? So as you've seen in the title and the thumbnail, we're going to be talking about what if Boros came back into the story. And let me also point out that there's like a 0.00001, whatever chance that this could actually happen, but probably not. And we're going to be taking a look at two scenarios where I think that if this could happen, these would be the likely ways. So the last time we see Boros is at the end of chapter 35 when he's defeated by Saitama. He's walking away from Boros' body and there's like debris falling on him. And then in the following chapter, the core breaks and then the ship falls and it's like a mass explosion. So that was pretty much the end of Boros. However, at the end of chapter 36, it says Metal Knight recovered the spacecraft and took it somewhere. And that's going to be the first and last time we ever hear about this. And before I go any further, let me just say that this is just important for the future of the story, regardless of Boros' unlikely involvement in it. But anyway, now that Metal Knight has his ship, what if he also finds Boros' body there as well? Because like I said, the last time we saw Boros, Saitama was walking away from his body and we didn't see what happened to it after that. Now ostensibly he's straight up dead. I mean, he took the force of a serious punch, probably the strongest thing we've seen in the series so far, and impressively was able to speak afterwards. But then he coughs up before saying his final words. We could assume that that's probably when he died. So the ship falling and the subsequent explosions are kind of just overkill, right? Well, what if he survives that too? What if he wasn't dead after coughing up and saying his last words? And what if on top of that, he survives the ship falling and the explosion? I mean, why not? If he was able to survive the force of a serious punch and talk afterwards, a ship falling and explosions are, probably gonna be less than that. So let's just say he's at like 0.1 health at this point. And when Metal Knight is taking a survey of the ship, he comes across Boros' body that's barely alive. And what happens after this point is really up in the air because we don't know the true character of Metal Knight yet. Right now, one kind of wants us to pick sides of who the traitor is or who's affiliated with the organization. Like, is the bad guy Metal Knight or is it Drive Knight? And if you follow the channel, I'm sure you're aware that I think Metal Knight is being wrongfully accused by Drive Knight, who is the true traitor, true big villain, and the mad cyborg. But there's always a possibility that that is not the case, and Metal Knight is in fact the true villain and pulling the strings of the organization maybe. So if that was the case, and Metal Knight came across Boros' body, then it's obvious at that point he's going to turn him into a cyborg, like the organization has been doing so far. And who's to say how powerful he would be, probably like close to God level, I guess. But if he's not the traitor and the villain and, the string puller of the organization, and he's more what I think he is, which is like kind of like a gray area character, like lawful neutral or something. So if he found Boros' body, then what would he do with it? Well, I'd assume that maybe he would still try to make him into a cyborg, but it hasn't been shown yet that Bafoy deals with cyborg stuff. He's been shown to be exclusively on just straight robotic side of things. However, that doesn't mean that I don't think that he's capable of making a cyborg. I mean, he built the Hero Association in 7 days. I'm sure he can figure out how to do cyborg stuff, right? But first, let's talk about Squarespace. So I'm sure some of you have been interested in making your own website since maybe the other, social media platforms aren't really cutting it for you. So let's just go through it together right now and see how it works. So I'm at the Squarespace website and I click Get Started. It asks me what's my site about. So I'm going to type in anime and manga. Then next it asks me what are my top goals. I guess for this website it would be to build a community. And after that it shows me all of the best template matches and they all look pretty great. This is some seriously professional stuff. So yeah guys, if you're finally ready to take the plunge and make your own website, something that's probably going to be a game changer for you, please check out Squarespace and use my link in the description. It will give you 10% off your first website or domain. Thanks guys. So in that case, then I guess he would cyborgify Boros' body, but then that raises the question of, okay, so is he going to just leave him as is, or is he going to take away his free will? And I think if it came down to that, it's very possible that Metal Knight would take away his free will. Not necessarily because that's like an evil thing to do, but because it's like, I guess, the pragmatic thing, and also maybe he wouldn't even see Boros as like a human or like a person. He would see him closer to like an animal or something because he's an alien. So taking away his free will probably wouldn't really morally bother him that much. So now that Boros is revived and back in the story, when would we see him? And to be honest, I don't think we would see him immediately, because Metal Knight has obviously been very conservative with his power. Like, we the audience have just seen so little of it. And other than that, there's just heavy implications on how powerful he could be. Like, it's said that the Hero Association fears the full potential of his arsenal, and Psycho's saying that he was only one of 4 heroes who could potentially defeat Elder Centipede. So I think it's safe to say that he is way more powerful than what we have seen. And now that he has Boros' ship, I'm sure he's even more powerful. And in this scenario, he can even use the ship to like fortify Boros' new cyborg armor. And that being said, this new Boros is probably like, you know, close to God level, meaning that it's, you know, might be the strongest thing that Bufoy has. So it would be like a last resort type of thing for Bufoy to unleash this Cyborg Boros, meaning that if he eventually has like a serious beef with Saitama and they wind up squaring off, then I guess he's going to send Boros after him eventually once he realizes the full extent of Saitama's power. And if it's not Saitama, then maybe he would wind up sending him after Drive Knight. Like, if this story eventually boils down to like Drive Knight at his full power, then I guess, you know, he in theory could be strong enough to warrant Drive Knight sending Boros after him. And then if it's neither of those, then, you know, it's eventually going to happen with God coming back in the prophecy. So we'd at least see that, but then I don't think super powerful Cyborg Boros is going to be able to do much against God. So that's one scenario. Now let's take a look at the other one, and I'm sure you know where I'm going because you saw it in the thumbnail, and that's Phoenix Man. So as I'm sure some of you remember, Phoenix Man used to have this form called Brilliant Eagle or Diamond Eagle, but this form was retconned in the redraws of chapter 98 through 100, like when he's fighting Child Emperor. However, they kept one of his major abilities that he had in that form, which is his reanimation ability. It was now retconned to where his resurrected form can now use it. And we see him using it to bring back the ninjas. But I think him still having this ability is more important than him just simply bringing back the ninjas, on top of the fact that he goes on to live this fight where originally he didn't, and in the redraws we see him regress into like that chick form. And I think that he is eventually going to regain his strength again, and we will see him some way or another evolve to Brilliant Eagle. Like, I think that this form is going to come back into the story just later on. So let's just say for the sake of this video, he eventually does regain his Brilliant Eagle form. Like, somehow in his chick form he regains enough strength to go back to his costume form maybe, and then he fights some people, and then they push him to like getting multiple Zenkais again, you know, using his ability, and then he's able to evolve to the Brilliant Eagle form again. And then once he's there, you know, he has all the abilities that he originally did, on top of having the reanimation ability, but he's also just so powerful that very few characters can challenge him, I guess. So let's just say he either comes across Metal Knight, who maybe still has Boros' body, or he just organically comes across Boros' body, like in a city or something, or someone else has Boros, or he just comes across Boros. Then he resurrects him. However, his reanimation ability kind of makes them into like zombies, so this would be like a zombie Boros that's subservient to him. But also, you know, he'd be resurrecting like his defeated, you know, chewed up goopy form. So let's just say his powers can like regenerate him too. Now he's back to like his released form, but he's like a zombie released Boros. So now he's in the story, but we could take it further. So let's just say Phoenix Man is having his rematch with Child Emperor, and he's already resurrected Boros, and he has zombie Boros fighting against Child Emperor using Brave Giant. And it gets to the point of where, I don't know, they're in water or something for some reason, and then Child Emperor activates his Gigavolt Smash, and this fully resurrects Boros, just like how it did with the ninjas. So now Boros is just completely back. He has his wits back. He's fully self-aware. And then he like one-shots Brave Giant, and then he turns around and sees Phoenix Man, and then he like attacks Phoenix Man too, and probably straight up kills him maybe, like just bypasses the Zenkai stuff and just immediately kills him. And then we just have a Boros on the loose, like he's back. And then whatever happens after that is, you know, a story for another time, I suppose. This is kind of similar to what eventually happens in Jujutsu Kaisen. No spoilers, but if you know, you know. So those are like the two main scenarios where I see Boros coming back if he were to. And again, you know, this is just for fun. And I guess there is a third option, like once God comes into the story, like once he's resurrected, then he somehow resurrects Boros maybe. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the video today, guys. Let me know what you think about this, and if you like this type of video, let me know. Maybe I'll make more in the future. And if you haven't already, please subscribe as well. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next one.